Hey, what's going on, guys? So in this video we're going to try to fix this iPhone cable that I'm showing you right now, and as you can see, it's sort of really broken, I guess, and yeah, I don't think this is safe anymore. So we're going to try to fix this using something I've actually never showed you on the channel, which is flexible filament. Well, I don't think I've showed you on the channel, but this is flexible filament. I'm going to use a steel aqua color today, and it's an ABS, and it's not ABS replica, it's an actual thing called Flexi, and I'm going to use a 3D ruler to create plus for this project. And the setting for it is just the same setting you would use for ABS. If you've ever noticed, if you have this pen, you can see, as I'm trying to show you, it's actually ABS/FLX, which is Flexi. So that's the setting you're going to use, and I'll be right back after this heats up. So yeah. Okay, so now I'm just going to take the filament out of the little bag thing, and first of all, I'm just going to cut that little end because it's really frayed and it's all like chopped up, I guess. So I'm going to use my flush cutters and chop that off, and it was really easy to do. It just came right off. So now that's not going to get in my way, and it'll be much easier to do. So I'm just going to lay this out here while I put on my finger protection, I guess, because using flexible filament, it doesn't dry as quickly, so touch it, it is hot, and I honestly don't really want to burn my fingers. But so now you see how flexible it actually is. It's really flexible, but the problem is it's also really hard to work with. It's really stringy, and it's like if you tug at it, it'll pull everything it was attached to with it. So if you're gonna cut this, use scissors or flush cutters or anything else, something like that. Don't tug it. And now you can just see it transitioning. Now the flexible filament is finally coming out. So now I'm just going to put my finger protection things on, and let's get started. So now I'm just going to take the wire and quickly sort of experiment, to see if flexible actually sticks onto the wire. So now I'm just going to experiment if it actually goes on, as I said, and I'm just going to try it out. So on first glance, it actually seems to be sticking to the rubber outside pretty well. The metal, not so much. So that's not gonna work out. So I'm just going to have to try something different because it's not going to stick to the metal. So yeah. So I'm just going to actually just remove all of that, and as you can see, the tugging part right now, it's really strong, and part of that strength is just because it's flexible. So pulling it off wasn't that hard because it wasn't really sticking that well, as you saw. Okay, so now I'm just going to sort of cut a little bit more of that end because it's not staying around the middle part, and it's just really hard to work with when that sort of happens. So I'm going to cut the end, and I'm just going to try again, this time going sort of up and down to keep constant contact, I guess, to the metal. So I'm just going to go up and down as you see me doing. So yeah. So I'm just going to keep doing this all around, and hopefully this works. And as I said, it was really pliable, so maybe after this I can maybe even heat this up, but I'm probably not going to do that. But I am going to squeeze it, I guess, a little bit. And right now I'm sort of just fixing that hole in my finger thing, and so it's not in the way. But as you saw, like, the flexible filament is different from ABS, as it sticks to a lot more surfaces rather than ABS, which basically sticks to nothing. So now I'm just going to keep continuing with that and all the way to the end. And I haven't really figured out how to do that part without, that doesn't have any insulation or anything on it, but I guess we'll have to figure that out later. But for now, I'm just going to keep doing this. And yeah. So I'm just going to put it in time lapse, and you see me sort of going horizontally, not horizontally, vertically, lengthwise, and sort of trying to squish it in and make it smooth and filling all those little gaps just to make it look better. And I haven't actually started that area where there's no insulation or anything. I still have to sort of figure that out, see what I'm probably going to do, because that's sort of like a little tough, challenging part, because it's not going to stick to the metal there. So I'll have to see what I'm probably going to do there. So now I'm just going to move on and try to sort of bridge over the gap, I guess. So let's see. Maybe that'll work. Maybe it's not. Sorry, my finger's in the way. I'll try to move that. And so I'm just going to keep doing that, and as you can see, it's not sticking very well. Although it does look like so, if you, it's actually not. And it's really not sticking to the metal area, it's only sticking to the 2 anchor points, which it could work, but in my case, not really. So I'm just going to keep doing this over, and yeah, you can see it's really not sticking really well. So I'm just gonna cut that off, being careful not to cut the metal because the charger's dead. If you cut the metal, the charger's completely gone. And this is, you still if I don't encourage you to do this. You can still try, but it's not completely safe, I guess, because this is still electronics, wires, dangerous. So attempt this at your own risk, I guess, even though this isn't risky, but you have to be, just saying, be cautious. Don't have this plugged into the wall. Don't be charging a phone while you're doing this, because that's when you're really putting yourself in danger. So just be careful when doing this, and I'm just gonna cut that off, and so I'm just gonna continue doing that, and I'll try doing something different now. So now you sort of just saw me wrap it around, and because it's flexible filament, it's mendable, and I can quickly just roll it and wrap it up like that, which is a really good pro. And now I'm going to try to do the anchor point thing, and I'm just going to keep like wrapping it up, and then I'm going to try the anchor point to see if maybe that'll help, because now that I have flexible filament, if you don't know, all filaments stick to each other. Well, maybe not to different types, like ABS sticks to ABS, flexible sticks to flexible, and they stick to their own kind of filament. So if I anchor it sort of like this, it'll make it so it'll stick. So you just saw me pulling it off, even though I said not to. It's because that had a really small anchor point, and because I rolled it up and mashed it up, it's really on there. But if you look at the other end of the cable, it's really liney and stuff. If you did it there, it would probably pull all those other lines and everything. So I'm just going to try that same anchor point idea again, and I'm just going to see if that works. So now you can just see me sort of trying to go on the wire, and it's working a lot better now, you can see. So I'm just going to keep doing this around and sort of create like a plus sign looking thing, and hopefully that should help. So I'm just going to turn it around, keep going, and you can see it's still not sticking to the actual metal cable, but it's actually sticking to the filament. So that's good enough right now, because you'll see what I'll be doing later, which is going to be wrapping it all around, and that should help. So I'm just gonna keep doing that. Okay, so now that I'm done, I'm going to take my filament and just keep going around a little bit more on the top and sort of closing off that little metal area so it's out of my way, and then I can sort of finish it up, add some details or something like that just to make it look better, and that'll basically be it for what I'll have to do. So I'm just going to keep doing this, wrapping it around just like that. Now you can see it's completely done. And I'm just going to finish it off. And do keep in mind, if you don't give it a nice strong thick connection point, and try bending it, it won't end up really good. The filament's going to start breaking off. Not that it's not flexible, it just doesn't have anything to flex onto. It's like holding one end of a string and trying to bend it. The other end is just going to do whatever it wants. It's not going to bend the way you want. So you have to hold both the ends. So it needs an anchor point for both points. So I'm just going to keep going slowly around it to give it a nice thick anchor point. So now I'm just sort of fixing this little crack that I had in my USB charger, being careful not to get it on any of the metal because that would ruin the charger and it would make it not work anymore, and then sort of just sealing up a little bit more of the holes, making it nice and sturdy because this cable was really bad before. So I'm just going to make everything a lot sturdier by doing this. Now I'm just sort of trying to, I guess, smooth it out, which is not really smoothing it, but sort of getting rid of those tiny little specks and pieces. It sort of just melts when it hits that hot end, so that's really all. And I'm just going to use my flush cutters to clip off the extra little bits and pieces, and yeah. So same thing I'm doing right now, I'm just cutting off small pieces that don't have really good anchor points and are not really needed. But that's really it. That's the end of the project. It's nice and flexible. You can bend it, and yeah. And I can see that mine actually has a little break point right there I'm showing you. So I'm going to add a little bit more filament there to make it stronger, and I will be right back. Okay, so I'm done fixing that little crack there, just rolling up the filament now. And I'm just going to keep rolling that just to make it just for any hot filament, it'll sort of roll up and get stronger, but that's really it. That's the end of this project now. This cable is nice and flexible, ready to be used again, and it's much safer and with no exposed wires and anything. And that's it for this video. I'll see you guys next time, and bye bye.